And what I'm missing so much with people with academic degrees is they have a lot of knowledge, but have they also wisdom. And without...
So it's a great joy for me to have this interview meeting with you. We are going to have a big World Congress, World Conference on education. I know you have been with the uh, Club of Rome, which is a prestigious institute of European reunion.
I was interested from my childhood in two different things. On the one hand, I like to be engineer and to be a philosopher. In the last years, I am more and more going into philosophy because I guess this is most important. And I also see at the same time that in Belgium, at least, philosophy is more coming up again and again. I think it's so important that people are thinking more and becoming to a deeper consciousness. If not, what will education be? How to translate philosophy into daily life? For many people, it's just an abstraction. For me, it is not. Philosophy should stay in the life, let us say, in the mud. There is where it started. And to deny all this, that is what in the Western tradition many times was done. One was denying that. Evidently, life is for me a mystery because it's very hard to get into depth into it. And many people have a different opinion, but it is my opinion. So I think in all this, I was interested in education. I was also studying philosophy and also theology and also sexology and engineering. So this is because, in my opinion, things are always related. And today's universities and schools are too many thinking in fragmented parts. And the whole of the world is more complex than that. So it is needed that we can think as much as possible together and in different disciplines. So education is in this a very important thing. I don't see any way to get out of many problems we are facing today without more education. The meaning of philosophy is from the ancient Greek philosophia. I love wisdom. And what I'm missing so much with people with academic degrees is they have a lot of knowledge, but have they also wisdom. And without wisdom, we are arriving nowhere, in my opinion. And therefore, it is necessary to improve education. Life is an evolving thing, in my opinion. Yes. And so we have to make progress to improve it. And if not, then it is a very pessimistic thing, as many thinkers think today. It is not 5 minutes before 12 o'clock, but 10 minutes past. I think to emphasize what is so important to have this conference about education and consciousness, in my opinion, that is, if both are not promoted and not taking more high flight, then we will arrive nowhere. We can see in history of mankind that only punishment is not sufficient to bring the people on the right path. If the consciousness is not there and the awareness and the will to do, then it will not make any progress.
But even then, just to have a few words about the Club of Rome.
Well, the Club of Rome is a club that is started almost in 1972. At that time, there came a very, very famous book. It was the first report to the Club of Rome, and it was about the limits to growth.
Yes.
What is the illness of today's industrial countries? Many of them are still thinking there is no limit, and we only have one Earth. Many people do think we have still 2 or 3 Earths at our disposition.
Yeah.
Well, if all people would live like we do here, we only have needed of a half Earth. And of course, that is the only way ahead and forward. But the main problem is that we have not enough respect for the earth, for nature, for sea, for people, for animals, for plants, and we are running out. That means in a few time there will be few, very few materials still to use. So the new thing is now to develop a circular economy, as so called. Human beings have to act because of intrinsic values, and that cannot be without more consciousness. My goal in life was, in the beginning already, to try to combine and to connect everything what was also there for thousands of years, things that were collected. But now we came in a society that is very fragmented. Somebody knows a lot of these things, but not of other things. But our life is complicated. So we have to give an answer on the question, how can we improve, in my opinion, the world? What will we tell our offspring? That we were spoiling the earth and they have to clean up the earth? Strange ethics. Without biodiversity, all human beings will die soon, because we are all interrelated. Worldview. The worldview is so important because every worldview implies an ethic. How we see the world, this implies that we have a behavior that is following from the ethic. The ethics behind, and that is very crucial, we have to go to a supranational thinking and ethical system, and their education is needed. Why? We see today that many cultures with many different worldviews are collapsing. We are only just citizens of one world. I was born and I went to 3 universities of Antwerp and Leuven and Brussels. And therefore I have some different view. Maybe I'm a little bit eccentric in many cases, but I have no other choice. I have to live like my conscience is saying me. And that is meaning that respect is fundamental in my ethics, as well as for all human beings, but also for the rest of the beings, like plants, sea, air. So I think education, I'm here again, and consciousness is so much important.
That is, by education, we'll have to develop a different consciousness of the mindset of the human beings, mindset especially at the grassroots level, at the same time, mindset at the decision makers. There are 2 types of knowledge. One is external knowledge and one is inner knowledge. Generally, we call it external knowledge as knowledge. But in fact, or rather the true knowledge would be the knowledge of within. That is, say, who am I, first of all, and what is my reason for being on this earth? What do you think of this inner knowledge, education for enlightenment? How would you define it and how would you introduce?
Evidently, there are things that are the same all over the world with different words and nuances. Education has to be an enlightening experience. As understood as much more, it has to do with lifestyle, a transfer of values. And then I'm coming with a very strange word, perhaps for some of you, is Bildung. It's a German word. And Bildung has to do with the knowledge and skills acquired in various fields, also regarding social norms, humanistic values, and body and soul are included. Self-cultivation. This is maturation as described as an harmonization of individual's mind and heart in the unification of selfhood and identify within a broader society. achieved through personal transformation, which presents a challenge to the individual's accepted beliefs. And now, that is my point of view, of course, everybody has the right to have Bildung as a consequence of being born. There is, on the one hand, our food that keeps us running, energy and things, material. And on the other hand, there is, in my opinion, what we can call mind. There is a connection between what is still not clear to me. Maybe it will never be, but anyway. And we are alienating from so many things. The society here is also ill on cleanness. Huh? Yeah. Everything needs to be clean, but not the mind. And that is more important to me. The body should be clean, definitely. But what people are using outside in their body, I think, in my opinion, that is a very great problem. But now we are going a step ahead. That is, there is nothing wrong that other animals are living like they are, but many people are still living like many other animals. I think inner knowledge is coming from being aware that we are human beings with needs, with thoughts, with feelings, with expressions, and we also can do that. And then we can go better to the world. Let me give this in a metaphor. If we have a bucket and it is empty, we cannot give water out of the bucket. That we have to fill the bucket first, and then we can pour out the water and share with others. Many people say, we hope to go back to normal. And then I think,
yes,
no. Just a little bit going back to normal. But mainly not go to normal. Because in my opinion, I can be wrong again, but this whole COVID system is saying something to us. That we were not on the right track.
Yes.
And we are fighting against something we cannot fight. Maybe I'm wrong. I think we have to live different way.
Yes.
What is the difference between awareness and consciousness? I find consciousness a deeper level, but it is even not easy.